These are the 10 tools that every AI agency owner needs to master. And number 10 is something I haven't heard anyone talk about. So let's get in. My name is Joel House. I've owned my agency for nearly 10 years. We've done almost 8 figures in sales and have maintained a 7-figure a year run rate for a very, very long time. And in this channel, I'm breaking down exactly how I do it, exactly what I recommend for everyone starting in the AI agency journey, as well as the tools, the techniques, the workflows, and everything in between. So let's get in. So first tool that everyone needs to master, and I think this one's pretty self-explanatory, OpenAI. Now, why OpenAI? Well, OpenAI is not so much so you can jump on ChatGPT and get it to write your job applications. Although it can do that, the reason that I'm a huge fan of OpenAI is because of its integration. You see, when you start jumping down to the integration tools, and at the core, anything that you do with your AI agency, OpenAI and the various ChatGPT models are usually at the core of it. So learning to prompt properly, learning how to leverage different models for your daily use cases as well. You're learning to use OpenAI to troubleshoot JSON files for Make or N8N. Hugely empowering use case there. Learning how to utilize deep research to actually come together with some personalized proposal information for your clients. And then, of course, learning how to prompt it efficiently to do everything from scraping the internet for leads to actually responding and acting as a live agent for your clients. The second, Anthropic, which is the Claude suite of products. And again, the APIs are the background of this. OpenAI and Anthropic, they've got their strengths and weaknesses. Personally, I use Claude more and more these days. I find it is better with JSON adjustments for workflows. I also find it's better for writing tasks. It is more expensive when you're using API credits, so you've got to obviously balance up the use case there. For example, I did a test recently where I was customizing subject lines for an email, and I tested various OpenAI and Claude models. One of the big gripes over OpenAI at the moment is we can't access the deep research model, where we can access Opus within Claude as we right now in May 2025. So there's elements like that you need to be familiar with both. Next is integrations. So the first of the integrations tool, and this kind of steps up in levels of proficiency, is Zapier. Zapier is at its core like a beginner no-code tool. And that is, there's a lot of things that are built in there that you can just drag and drop. Like if you want to integrate with High Level or with Google Sheets, I find Zapier is very quick, very easy to do it on. You don't need to run as many tests, there's a lot less things that can break. The downside to it is it's a lot more expensive, and there's also a lot more limitations. Make.com is sort of the next level up, an intermediate tool in my opinion, and it's good enough for most what you need to do. There's probably only a handful of use cases that N8N is really necessary for, and that's if you start really building a lot of advanced workflows. And as you know on this channel, I'm not a fan of going too deep on creating these really deep advanced agents in N8N just for the sake of it, where what a client wants is results. And Make.com is a nice balance for results there a lot of the time. It does have a great drag and drop feature. It is a very useful tool for that. And it just gives a little more flexibility in Zapier, and it is a lot more cost effective. Finally, N8N. N8N is a epic tool in my opinion. You can either self-host it on your own server, or you can use their cloud version. If you do use your own server version, it becomes virtually cost-free other than your server bandwidth. There's no cost per instance. So if you're running a lot of enrichments, a lot of processes, N8N on your own server can be very, very cost effective. If you start running, 10,000, 20,000 runs per day, which could be either enriching a lot of data, running a lot of conversations, writing a lot of emails, whatever it is, it becomes very cost effective at that point. Now, the downside of N8N is it's a lot more nuanced to get to understand. So you do need to have a little more understanding. You can build a lot more with it. Like we've built everything from super advanced chatbots, which can be used for various use cases in business, to full AI-driven customized email marketing systems where it'll actually customize the email, customize the subject line, run it through Smart Leads, send it, as a reply comes through, generate an AI-based reply, send it back to us. And as you're doing this stuff at scale, it just becomes a really efficient tool to use. Now, the next tool, GHL, Go High Level. If you've been in this space, you will have heard of Go High Level. You may already have it yourself. I highly recommend you get good at it. And the reason for that is, at the core, you're not an AI agency. You're a results agency. And if you want to be delivering results for your clients, you need to be bringing something that I guess is a tangible result. Now, Go High Level is a really great tool to kind of sit in the middle. So as an example, if you're doing cold emailing, it's a great tool to sit in the middle and hold, the mass data between, maybe Smart Lead or Instantly, or, if you're running reactivation campaigns, for example, all the AI tech is going to be on N8N, but you need something to actually sit in the middle and operate it all and connect to your SMS sender and keep it all organized. And I find GHL is a really great solution for that. So highly recommend you get good at GHL. Now, number 5, you'll notice a few of these are blocked out. Clay. If you haven't used Clay, it is a awesome enrichment tool, and it's a tool that can enable you to do a lot, especially when you start using your own APIs. The biggest gripe that I have with Clay is its pricing for its own credits. However, if you put your own Anthropic or OpenAI API keys into it, you can actually leverage it as a very easy, buildable, enrichment-based database tool, which makes bringing data together very easily. And it's especially good if you're doing handover builds for clients, because a client, you can connect their AI API keys to it and say, hey, just push this button, press play, let it enrich your data. And we've built it all, you prompted it all the rest of it. So it's really good for some of those quick handover builds. Number 6, Apify. Apify is a fantastic tool. If you haven't used it, it's a full stack data scraping tool. So what will often happen is you'll often have people who want you to do certain things with AI. Like, for example, they might say, hey, I want you to generate, scrape all of the leads that are in a local area and then personalize those leads and then cold email those leads and then feed them back through an AI-driven sequence. To begin that sequence, you need potentially, a Google Maps scraper. Or you might say, hey, I just want to test their general web scraper. I was doing one the other day where I was doing a detailed Spotify scraper. So this is a really, really useful tool to scrape a lot of these data sources without needing to go too deep. There's so many different different scrapers here. A lot of people can build them. You can also contact the developers to get things customized if a tool doesn't quite suit your needs, which I have done in the past as well. Next up, and this is going to be a interesting one, Xero. What is Xero? Xero is an accounting software. Why an accounting software? Well, guys, you own a business and you need to have your books in order. This is the biggest mistake I've seen a lot of people who start making money online make, is they don't do the tax compliance. It's boring stuff. Trust me, I know. I've got an accounting background. That's what I studied in college before I went into the world of marketing. But Xero makes things very easy. So you can either A, find a bookkeeper on Upwork to do your compliance within Xero, or B, you can actually leverage Xero yourself. It's got some pretty smart prompting features. At the core, if you can figure out AI, you can figure out Xero. You're not going to need to run that much through it. Now, why is this important? A, if you're in the US, you need to pay the IRS. If you're anywhere else in the world, you need to pay tax officers. Second, when you become a business owner, I'm going to talk specifically in the US. I own a business in Australia and a business in the US. I own 2 agencies. Now, in the US, we have such ability to minimize our taxes, and by owning a business, everything from buying computers to every software you use to, if you've got legitimate purposes for your car, it can be a business write-off. The gas, that can be a write-off. So can the maintenance. So can your home office. So can your internet, your electricity. The moment you register an LLC, or honestly even just run as a sole proprietor, and you track your expenses properly, and that's where Xero comes in, you can start claiming so much because it's all legitimate business expenses. Now, make sure to get an accountant, talk to them, because if you don't keep proper records Or if you try claiming things that don't make sense, you will end up in hot water. So I would highly recommend getting familiar with Zero. Now, the next tool on this list, next up, and this is a very simple tool, Loom. Loom is extraordinary. And the reason I say this is when you start communicating with clients, you will save hundreds of hours every month by using Loom. And what I mean is you fire Loom up, you shoot a quick screen capture video, and you can stay in their free subscription if you want. It's 5-minute videos, or you can pay, I think it's like $10 a month for unlimited. Jumping on Loom, talking to people and clarifying things is so much easier than writing a long email. Even in my marketing days, one of the things I found, dealing with SEO clients as an example, is they much prefer a 2-minute Loom video that doesn't give as much detail than a 2-page report with all the analytics details. Why? Because they want to have that human touch and they want to know what it is you're doing. So if you're building automations, send your client a Loom, every second day. Be like, hey, this is what I've done. This is where we're up to. This is the outcomes. Or if you don't want to actually expose, what it is the background is, just be like, hey, this is an example of what's going on. We've been working on this. Boom, 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 boom. This is what we're working on next week. Just want to keep you updated. Have a great weekend. That little bit of communication, it goes a long way. Number 9, Upwork. Why Upwork? It's a fantastic place if you're starting out to get work. There's a lot of people on there, and you're not going to necessarily get the highest pay, but you are going to get some solid projects. You pick up a couple of grand here and there for projects. And it's a really, really great way to A, cut your teeth on projects, and B, turn clients from there into long-term clients. I've got clients I've done work on Upwork for the last 8 years. And it's gone from, hey, I want you to do some hourly rate work, to here's a long-term retainer, and they pay us every month through Upwork. Happy days. So really, really great platform. I've got another whole video I'm going to release soon on how to leverage Upwork for jobs. Really, really cool stuff. The last one, PP, personal power. Now, this is the big one. I wish I could highlight this like 16 times. Because personal power is everything. Ultimately, the AI agency game is relatively easy. The automation agency game, relatively easy. The toughest thing is having your personal power, the willpower, the dedication, the follow through to show up every day, do what needs doing, whether it's prospecting Upwork, whether it's managing outbound campaigns. I'll cover a few notable mentions in a sec. Whether it is getting a deliverable done on time. If you tell a client you're going to ship something by the end of the day or have it on the desk, 9 a.m. in the morning, hit that deadline. The number of times I've had to pull, all night, I always make sure I get some sleep, but, work till 1, 2 a.m. Normally I'm in bed by 9 because I'm up at 5. But number of times I've had to pull late nights to get things shipped on deadline. Crucial, because people respect that. That's how you build a business. Now, a few notable mentions. You've obviously got Instantly and Smartlead, great cold email tools. Any tools that are going to help you to prospect, huge. You got LinkedIn. LinkedIn, again, really important tool here. It's going to help you to actually showcase your talents. It's going to help you, and I mentioned this in a video yesterday, get content on your LinkedIn. Again, I'll tell the story. I was at the park on Christmas Day with our kids, got chatting with a dad. Turns out there could have been some synergy between what we do. He might need our services. We go home, he checks out my LinkedIn, sends me a message on Christmas Eve. Hey, checked out your LinkedIn, love what you do. I think we should talk. And within a week, I was presenting a $20,000 a month proposal to him. So huge important thing here. And then honestly, the last thing I'm going to say, sleep and exercise. Sleep and exercise. Why? Because sleep and exercise are two of the most powerful ways to control your personal power, to have your mindset in the right spot, and to have your energy in the right spot. If you cannot show up to work and show up to your agency with the energy that is required to actually succeed, you're not going to succeed. It's that simple. This isn't showing up to a job. Even if you're a high-end, let's say you're in an executive position at a job, it's very different to show up to your own business where ultimately you're the only one accountable. And if you don't show up, you don't get paid, than it is even to show up as a CEO of a major company, because there's balancing acts there. There's things that you can fall back on. There's other people you can fall back on. So sleep, exercise. I can delve into how to maintain your energy a million different ways, but they're the two big ones. So work out every day, get enough sleep, 7-8 hours. You can't perform for long stretches without that. So that is the tools for automation agency owners. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you've got any videos you'd like me to make, if there's any workflows, any mindset, I've got a list of what I think is important, but I'd love to hear from you guys what you'd like next. So with that said, have an amazing day. See you in the next video.